Hello and welcome to the City Manager's Report. I'm Jill Fraley along with City Manager Donovan Blackburn and joined by a special guest today, Minta Chaney. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. We appreciate it. We've been looking forward to you coming down and,
well, thank you for
participation.
Thank you for having me, filling in for Keith today. I know he's normally here, so I hope that I do everything the right way.
I'm sure with your history, you will do things above and beyond.
Well,
and don't tell Keith I said that. But,
okay, I certainly appreciate that. But we have so much to discuss today.
Absolutely.
It's the middle of the holiday season, and I can't say enough about the way our city looks, the feel of the city, and the excitement that is around our wonderful city.
Well, I appreciate that. We've got a lot of special programs going on right now with the various departments. Today, I brought in a special guest to introduce to the community and to let her kind of communicate some of the things that are going on. Minta Chaney is with us today. She is the director of Main Street, and she's also the sister city coordinator. You know, we went to China last year, and we formed a relationship with our sister city of Ankong, China. Mm-hmm. They came here actually we were here the week of Hillbilly Days.
It was this past spring.
Yes, it was. So Minta coordinates a lot of the involvements that we have with China, and we're working currently with the hospital and the university. Possibly doing some exchange programs and things. So she wears a lot of hats.
She wears a lot of hats. She's a very busy lady. I have seen her at every function I have been at for the last few weeks. Seems like I've seen you once or twice a week for the last month.
Probably our fourth or fifth time.
It is.
We're on schedule.
We are on schedule, and it's always a pleasure. I want to talk a little bit about what Main Street's role actually is for those people who might not know.
Well, Main Street, the intent of Main Street is to revitalize the downtown area, to draw business together, to create events and venues, to create a better quality of life, and overall just to project and promote local business. Minta was brought on with the city a few years back. I've been here now 8 years. Time flies, Minta. And Minta was one of the first positions since I came to the city that I brought on board. We had went through a transition of Misty Staggs was our previous Main Street director, and she decided to go to a different area. Missy had done a wonderful job with the program, and the city had actually looked at kind of cutting back on the Main Street program. We had dialed it back and was really running it part-time. But understanding what the program brings to the community and understanding what all has evolved over the past several years, the need to bring the Main Street program back bigger and better than ever before is what we did, and Minta was a perfect fit for that. Minta was brought in originally as a director of economic development. She did a lot of economic development work for me. So she's done an absolutely wonderful job. But back to your question, Main Street and what Renaissance is not just to revitalize the community, but also the Renaissance program under Governor Patton's administration was able to bring millions of dollars in grants into the downtown area and a lot of different projects to revitalize and to allow the community to grow. As I'm sure you know, a lot of rural communities especially, our downtowns are drying up and they're moving to little suburb areas in and around. And Pikeville was no different, and cities across the city of Kentucky were no different. So under Patton's administration, he enacted, participated and enacted the Main Street and Renaissance program. The importance and the distinction between the two is that the Renaissance program is where the grants and the funding was available, and we were able to take these grants and go downtown and do a lot of streetscaping and landscaping and a lot of different things. So what I've asked Minta to do today is to come in and kind of explain to you some different programs that are going on downtown right now, some things that she's got some involvement in. But I thought before that we got to that point, we would kind of give the public a little history of what has taken place over the last 8 or 9 years.
Well, certainly.
We are, by the way, a gold level Renaissance city. There is certain criteria that you have to meet. Minta actually has to go for training each year, and she has to have so many hours of certification to ensure that we keep that prestigious honor.
That level,
and she's done a great job. And actually, the shirt that you saw her in the picture on there, I Love My City. She was at the Kentucky League of Cities, and they had I think you got credit for some Main Street training during that time. So anyway. With that said, some of the things over the last several years that the city has received grants or spent money on to kind of change, Jill, the landscape downtown. You know, I had yesterday, John Steiner, who is the director of the Kentucky League of Cities, came down for a visit, and his first time to Eastern Kentucky. He's up from New Hampshire. So he was absolutely delighted and amazed with our fair city, with all the cities across the state, which he can't, I'm sure, put preferential treatment on anybody, but was very complimentary about Pikeville's progression and the beauty and the cleanliness of the city and the hospitality. Was really amazed. And the Kentucky League of Cities a couple of months ago had featured the city in an article talking about our progression and the things that our community is doing above what other communities across the state are doing. So we're very proud of where we've come from, where we're heading, and what we're doing. And I've got a great staff that brings us to that point.
You certainly do. And what I can tell you personally, from living in Pikeville for 10 years now, I remember before, and I look at it now, and I drive down Main Street, or I'll be somewhere in the community, and I'll think, we have such a beautiful, beautiful town. And I'm so proud to, I wasn't born and raised here, but I've been here for 10 years, so this is my home permanently. And it is just beautiful what that program has been able to do and how the revitalization process has taken place. It's just amazing.
Well, it's infectious in a sense, and that's what Minta will tell you is that, I'm sure, is that when we start one program, it kind of either rolls into another, or whether it's the community, or whether it's the shop owners, or whether it's the business leaders, everybody kind of jumps in. And when you plant one seed, then it flows over to another, and you've got all of a sudden a garden.
Right.
And that's what's happened in our community. On the some of the projects that the Renaissance or the Main Street program has been involved in, a lot of folks don't know, well, Main Street's here, well, what have they done and what do they do? And, I'll let Minta cover. She's got a great board. But it's a lot of community involvement and a lot of vision. Some of the entryway signs, there's 2 in the city. That was a Main Street, part of the Renaissance program, what we call the gateway signs, which is up on the board right now. And all this was part of the Renaissance program downtown. The signage program, all the black signs, actually those came out of, I had went to Lexington, Kentucky, in a little suburb in Lexington, and found these signs, and Main Street was looking for something a little bit unique and brought them back, and they took some visits and came back, and so we took the entire Renaissance area and retrofitted it with the new black signs, and of course they match and mirror a lot of the park benches and the streetscapes and those type of things. A lot of park benches in the city, and one of the things that Minta done, I had purchased several park benches through the Renaissance program, but she came back and said, wouldn't it be neat to put the city of Pikeville in a couple of them? So there's several of the city of Pikeville park benches located in and throughout the city.
This is one of my favorite things that we do in the summer. One of my favorites.
Well, it's a blessing, Jill. We get a lot of compliments, and our nursery program is one of them. Not only because of the streetscapes, again, all the infrastructure that's in place, like the lamppost and the park benches and such. But what a lot of folks don't know is that we actually have our own greenhouse, and that we grow our own plants. The greenhouse was located at Bob Amos Park, but the program had done so well, and so many people really enjoyed it. We got so much publicity out of it that we moved it up the hollow up behind UMG's office, and we actually expanded it twice the size that it was. It was an internal project, and but very well. And I'll tell a little story on myself, Jill.
You're telling yourself.
I probably shouldn't. But in 2004, I came to work for the city. My background was in management and finance, and so one of the things that the commission had labeled me to do was to look at cost savings and where we can take those dollars and reinvest them back into other projects in the community. Well, one of the projects that I looked at was this flower program and what I thought it was costing the city, and had actually elected to nix the program, unbeknownst to the commission.
Oh no!
And yes, that was a very good statement, because when word had went out, it was the very next day. There was a group of ladies in my office that let me know real quick that
wasn't going to happen.
This was not going to happen, and this program was vitally important to our community, and I understand. And I'm glad it wasn't nixed. We expanded the program. At the same time, the streetscape, I came on board when all the underground infrastructure was in the process of being placed, all the electrical lines, because what you see above ground is beautiful and costly, but what you don't see was a big part of Renaissance, and it was putting the cable and the phone and electricity, all that underground. So the same thing had happened. Folks did not realize once the new city manager came on board in 2004 that all those beautiful trees that used to line Main Street that were cut down, they had thought that I came in and cut all those down.
It was your fault.
It was all my fault. It was all my fault.
So you're the one.
It was my fault. But again, we had the planners and everything prepared to come back in. And once that everybody saw the finished product, everybody was absolutely amazed and delighted.
Well, it is absolutely beautiful, and it's one of my favorite. Spring is one of my favorite times of year, and when I start to see the flower pots go up is when I know that warm weather's on the way and that everything is going to be alive again. But this is something I've seen other cities when I've been traveling around. I like to think that they're copying what we're doing, because, especially in our area, because it is so beautiful. And everyone that I know that comes in from out of town will comment on our cityscapes and the different things that we have around and just talk about how beautiful it is. And I say, well, thank you. It is, and we're very proud of that.
Well, it's one of the nicest compliments one can pay is not just those that have been away for a while that come back and see all the changes in the community, but other communities, as you've said, that have duplicated.
Right.
It's a great compliment. And,
huge compliment.
And we're proud of the fact that we like to be leaders in the community.
Absolutely. Now, not only do we have those type things in the summer months, but now getting into the holidays and closer to Christmas and New Year, we have so many things that are going on. Now, these planners that are here too, those are beautiful, and those change throughout the year.
They do.
But what I've noticed right now is that we have so many beautiful holiday decorations and different things that are coming into our area that have not been there before. Oh, there we go.
Right on time.
Minta will tell you this was actually a two-phase project. With all the streetscaping and all the things that we just showed that we had went through, the decorations that we did have obviously did not fit what we wanted to represent our downtown as. We had done, and I'll go through in a second, about a $2 million renovation to the city park. So the Main Street played a role in going through and selecting something that would complement the light poles and the city park and some of the things that we did. Under new projects here, we'll talk about in a minute. I'm going to let Minta talk about what I guess a couple of months ago I went to her office and said, I want you to use your vision and all Minta does an absolutely wonderful job in decorating and a lot of other things that she does outside of her Main Street job. So I strapped her with bringing in new decorations, the large decorations that we put up in and around the city. And I've got some pictures of a couple of those here in a minute. I'll let her talk about. But she did absolutely, her and Samantha Rogers, who's my administrative assistant. She's also the Artisan Center director, sat down and ordered quite a bit and just did it surprised me a little bit.
Well, it's like one of those ultimate shopping sprees, I bet.
Absolutely.
The pictures that you're showing now, I love the fact that the buildings mimic what they used to be, but there's still new businesses going in there, and I love the fact that we have those in our downtown area. Well,
Jill, and that's the purpose, going back to what Renaissance and what Main Street is to do, is to give downtown a fresh look and to create not only and that's what they've done, is they've looked at how they can promote business, but also improving entertainment in different facets to create a better quality of life and creating that additional foot traffic back in the downtown area. Because back to Main Street Live, Main Street and downtown has now came alive. If you look at, and it's very basic things like the downtown. We used to have all these old signs, from the 40s and 50s that hung off the building that were rusted and just in poor condition. So, that was another job of Main Street came in. And they actually worked with the Pikeville Fire Department. And we went through and took down all those old signs, spent quite a bit of money on putting new sidewalks in. So when you put the planters on, and so I guess, the point is it wasn't just a one-piece project. It was doing the underground, doing the brick stamping in the intersections, then coming back and putting over close to $300,000 worth of new sidewalk in, putting the light poles up, the planters up, and then we kept expanding. Every time that we did something different, then we expanded it, which led into a couple of her projects here that she'll talk about. So once we got into doing the downtown area, then we looked at the city park. And as I said, the commission spent over, and this we worked in conjunction with the Main Street and Renaissance project, but this was actually a city commission project, is that they wanted to create a centerpiece of downtown, a community gathering piece. And Jill, I go back to I moved beside the city park before I took the city manager's job in 2002, and I went back in 2003 and looked how many events were scheduled actually in the city park during that year, and it was 14 events. This year we had over 400 events scheduled in the city park.
Isn't that amazing?
So things grow, and people have really taken a pride in what, I'm going the wrong way, in what has accomplished. So there's some before and afters of what we've done in the city park with the fountains and the facade, and everything from speaker systems and sound systems to playground equipment to camera systems for safety. Mayor Hamley was honored in the city park. I love this picture. This is Mayor Justice on top of, as he always does, he doesn't let the workers do the work himself.
He's very hands-on.
He is very hands-on. Loves work and loves being inside. So this is a favorite picture of mine of Mayor Hamley's, the statue. But we put the picnic shelters in and the community center. And the neat thing about that is it's a very nominal fee. For the community center and the picnic shelter in the park, we don't charge anything for. So anybody that wants to go on the city's website to book those venues, the intent is this is our community. The taxpayers have already paid for these venues,
right.
So we want them to come in and to enjoy them.
That's such a wonderful service too. I've been to several birthday parties at the shelters, which I think is great because we didn't have anything like that before. But now the greatest thing is when you go to a birthday party, whether it be for a younger person or a more mature person, everybody is there in the park getting to enjoy one another, which is something we were never able to do before. And what a beautiful facility that we have and an area that we have right in the middle of our town to host those events.
Well, and back to the 400 events. It's amazing, and it has been amazing to me, is that the Garfield Center, if you don't book it at least 6 months in advance, you're not going to be able to book it.
It's true. It's true. What a wonderful addition that has been.
It has been. And it plays to some of our history in the park, and it was one of the things I spoke to John Steiner from KLC talking about, Garfield being commissioned, receiving his Brigadier General's commission in the city park, about the Hatfield-McCoy, the history of the Hatfield-McCoy that occurred in the city park, the Civil War era in the city park. So there's a lot of history, American history, that our country was founded upon right here in the city of Pikeville.
Right.
But giving homage to those events by the naming of the Garfield Center, and then enjoying a facility that had so much history and brought our community
right.
together in so many different ways. And we put a couple of fountains in the park just to give it that serene feel. You can come in and listen to the water trickle, and it's amazing how many kids that you have to kind of watch them in the fountain because
it's true.
It is.
It's true. And I'll tell on myself like you did earlier. I had never seen the one with the lion on it until last year. I was in the park doing something, and I turned around and I thought, my goodness, that is beautiful. I had never noticed it before because you have to be within the park walls to area to see that particular thing. And I had seen it with prom pictures with different kids that go over there during their proms and take pictures there. So it serves such a purpose, but it's absolutely gorgeous and does create that very tranquil feel.
Well, and that's the intent is to set up sections in the park, activity sections, a place where you can go and kind of meet and greet sections, a place for the kids to play, to kind of in a sense spread them out so that if somebody wants to read a book, they've got an area to go into
right.
to sit down, throw a blanket down, or sit on a park bench and listen to the water. But if you want to have a party, or if you want to play your instruments, or if you want to have your kids play, and I live actually, there's a picture of my house. I live in the White House on the bottom section of the bottom slide, left-hand side. So being right beside the city park, one of the things that I enjoy, absolutely delights in the position that I have, is going out and sit on the front porch and knowing what the park was 10 years ago, and watching these kids come in and play and have fun and hoop and holler. And I get the question frequently, Jill, asking, do you not get tired of the sounds of the kids and people playing right beside of you all the time? And the answer, absolutely not.
No, absolutely not.
Thrills my wife and I.
The playground that you see there in the slide that was before that, it is one of the most amazing activity centers for children that I have ever witnessed. I don't know that you will go to any other city in our region, and I dare say in most of Kentucky, and find something that is so kid-friendly.
Yes.
I mean, from the rubber mulch that's down to the safety of the equipment, it is something that I know that so many parents appreciate that, we didn't have this before, now we do, and you hear all the time, I love it when I hear, I'm going to take the kids to the park just for about 30 minutes this afternoon. what a wonderful way to be able to enjoy your children outside, and it's there year round. So even if it's a cold day, you can still utilize this equipment. Just bundle up a little bit. But I love to hear that. Oh, we're going to take the kids to the park. We're going to do this in the park. Wonderful that we have that.
Well, and it goes back to trying to be everything to everyone, and not just having wedding events. And there's a lot of wedding events that are scheduled in the park, and musical events, picnics, birthday parties. But also having a safe environment. Jill, growing up in Pikeville, and knowing the park used to be a shady area, just being candid. It was an unsafe area years and years ago. But seeing the transformation, and there's some old pictures that I really enjoy looking at back in the 50s of marching bands and a lot of these things that were going on in the park, and it was a community gathering place. And then it kind of fell off, and it kind of got blighted in a sense, and some shady characters were hanging out for a while. But this commission had a vision, and again back in 2004, they said that we want to transform not just this park. We've done a lot of things to Bob Amos Park to make it really what it's there for, community gathering points. So that was the purpose of not only doing the projects, but also putting the camera systems in place. We have the police patrol program that we now have that they do walkthroughs in the park. We have, one of my favorite events now is the movie night in the park, where we go and turn out all the lights. Police officer comes and walks through. It's a free venue that Food City has been sponsoring for us. So just being able to do those type of projects, again, improves the overall quality of life, but more importantly, it brings community together. And again, that's the mission of what Main Street is.
Well, it's such a wonderful program. One thing I do want to mention also is that especially in the springtime and in the fall, you will see there are several tables positioned throughout the park. And I love to see people who, instead of taking their lunch breaks and going inside of a restaurant to have their lunch, they'll get it to go, and they'll come and utilize those seats. And I think, wow, this is what happens in these big cities that we never saw here before. But now, because it's there, because the park is positioned the way that it is, we have that where the people can come and have their lunch outside, enjoy it, and you'll see them with their laptops doing some work here and there. And I just think it's great to see that sense of community coming together through that one localized place.
Well, and you mentioned the laptops. We have a partnership with Southeast Telephone, which is now Lightyear, that we offer free Wi-Fi. Understanding that you've got the technical college on the Riverfield and the medical school and UPike on the hill. In between the points is the park. So we wanted to do some things that would cater to the kids of all ages.
Of all ages. I have utilized it myself.
Well, it's fun to watch. In the evenings, especially during in the summer months, there's usually a group of college kids, 15 or 20 kids, every evening that come out about 10 o'clock, and they hang out till about 1 o'clock in the morning. And what they do is they've got all their laptops out. They sit there, they socialize. Other kids come out. It's good, clean fun. The police department patrols to make sure that they're safe. So again, it's all walks from early morning till late at night. People are utilizing, and what that does is to your point, it creates a demand and a need by bringing people downtown allow the downtown to continue to prosper. So we've got restaurants downtown. We've got obviously three restaurants already. There's 2 under construction currently. I joke when I say this, but I say that the pizza companies here in and around us owe the commission some stock because anytime you go downtown, you see pizza boxes everywhere. So I mean, it's a great accomplishment. It's a great project for the community, and we're extremely proud of what the downtown has become, because I agree, and I will boast on behalf of the commission, and we have become a model community.
Absolutely.
And I would be remiss if I didn't mention Utility Management Group, UMG. They are one of the things that I did when I came on board with the city is about 6 months into working as a city manager, I went to the commission and said, the Parks Department it was under city control at that time. We had a Parks Director and our own employees. And I said, I'd like to consider farming this out to UMG and letting the professional groups come in, because they've already it's a duplication of services. They've got mowers, we've got mowers. We can save the taxpayers dollars, but more so they're a professional company that has done a great job with our streets and our water and our sewer and gas. So they agreed to come in and take over the Parks Department. And so they handle everything from Hamley, Bob Amos, City Park. They do all the scheduling with the different sports programs. They do all the mowing and the cleanup. And I watched them this morning, actually all day yesterday. They were out in the pouring rain with the gazebo, tearing off the parts that were loose and broken. But rain, shine, sleet, or snow, they are definitely there.
They're always there.
We saved $30,000 because of the playground that you're talking about. If the city would have installed that playground, it would have cost us $30,000 to install it. But instead, UMG stepped in and they went ahead and installed it. It didn't cost the taxpayers a dime. So they do a lot of those projects they don't get accredited for. But Greg May is not only owner-operator of UMG, but a good friend of mine prior to even coming to work for the city. When we first met, he looked at the city park and said, Donovan, this project's going to be one of my projects. I want to make this thing shine. And they've more than proven that time and time again. Whether they come out early in the morning and clean it up and spruce it up and empty the trash and open the bathrooms, and then they come late at night when we're all sleeping and do the same thing, and then in between they come and make sure. And that's not just this park, it's all the different parks. So they do this community an invaluable service that a lot of times it's kind of like the police and the fire. You don't realize that they're there until you need them.
Right.
And then when you need them, you need them.
Yeah, you're exactly right. That's a great way to explain that, is that you see all of all of what they do, but you never see them sometimes at those late night hours doing those sorts of things. But you always know that it's cleaned up in the morning and everything's right back on track and we can do it over again.
Absolutely. Well, that's just, again, some of the things that the Renaissance and Main Street program's done over the past several years and how the city has participated with the Main Street program. There's a lot of new programs since bringing Minta on. I compliment her highly. Her office is, she's lucky because she gets to be right next door to me.
What a lucky girl you are.
I am very lucky. Very, very lucky.
Well, some of the new programs that we want to talk about is, and we mentioned it just briefly earlier, the Main Street, the Renaissance program, downtown development, bringing downtown alive. And we mentioned earlier, it is alive, especially off of the Main Street location or entrance to the Expo Center. That has changed so much too. And we offer lots of things there.
We do. Taking the outside plaza of the Main Street and building the stage to create an outdoor gathering place and creating Cafe on Main has just been a
greatest idea
ever. Now, during the day, evenings, weekends, it can be a place where you can sit, order that pizza, or listen to the local band, anything. So we're really going to expand on that this coming year because we kind of got a late start this past year. We didn't get started till July. So we're really excited about 2012 and the events that it will bring. And as we go through, there's some pictures on there of some past events.
Explain a little bit about Cafe on Main. When you mentioned that, I actually got to explain that to someone over this past weekend, what that was. They said, what are all these tables out here for? And I said, well, it's the greatest thing. The tables are numbered. You have a menu. People will deliver your food to you. It's the greatest. And you can be outside and enjoy it. I've never seen that before.
It is. It's another spot, such as the park that offers Wi-Fi, compliments, of the city working with Lightyear. Bring your laptop during the day, have lunch, gather with your business partners. You can hand the menu over to them and say, now let's order something, and they'll bring it right to our table. So we're very, excited about that. And then while they're there, they can, be exposed to what's going to happen that weekend, whether it's Muscle on Main, with the car show and the burnouts, whether it's Main Street Live. And Main Street Live is dedicated to bringing live performances to the stage. On the weekends, on those Friday evenings, you want to do something, you walk downtown or drive and, park in the parking garage. It's just a couple blocks away. And you can have that experience of being right there with local performers. We've really had some exciting things this past year.
Absolutely. I have visited a couple of those evenings, and it's just been wonderful to be able to be out in the community, to see friends, to see family, to plan an evening with your buddies, so to speak, and enjoy everything that we have to offer downtown.
Right, from different genres. We've had country music, we've had bluegrass, gospel, rock. This year we want to look forward to some karaoke. And
that'll be fun.
And different performances, and kind of make it to where it's not just the first and third Friday night. But every Friday night we're going to offer that also to different places such as University of Pikeville, and other organizations that have a performance related theme in their organization or business. So we want that stage to be utilized to bring those that foot traffic downtown and get the feel of what Main Street is today. Main Street's role has been to create facades, such as you see here, bringing downtown alive. This was one of the first facade project that I had the pleasure of working on. That building is owned by Martha Reidner, and it is occupied by Roland Case Law Firm. The building back in the early 40s was one of the drop-off points and a local merchandise store that was filled by the steamboats that came down the river.
Really?
So that is, it is definitely qualifies in all the true meaning of Renaissance. And it was a wonderful undertaking with the building because we didn't want to, of course, deface it in any way with any nails or mortar or anything. So we just done paint, and it was a little bit tedious thinking, well, how can we add that wrought iron and that feel of Renaissance to that? So we looked at how to put those balconies in the windows and was successful at that. And we have gotten so many compliments on that.
It's beautiful. It is beautiful. I love to look at that building when I drive down Main Street.
And so it's become our showcase building. And then we've also done a couple of others, one being Ken's Shoe Clinic, and another one of the oldest family, entrepreneur businesses that's been started for years. Chad Dameron is in that now. His father, and his grandfather, and back to his great-grandfather. So that's what Main Street is about, is taking what is, the past and giving the people in the future the opportunity to have that feel of your town. This is our most recent project, and this is Anderson's department store.
Has been there for years.
For years.
Years.
Ed Anderson, a wonderful
Absolutely.
gentleman. And he's still there, and we felt like, oh my goodness, let's give it a facelift. So now we tried to kind of recreate what was there and not make it too glitz and glimmery, because this is the true heart of the retail. And so Mr. Anderson was gracious enough to work with us to do that. So you see that we've installed the new metal roofing and the underlayment of that.
Minta, one of the things, if you would explain to Jill, is talk about what the participants' involvement is. How much does this cost them, and what has their involvement been?
These first three projects that you see, they were chosen by our Main Street board and as being the most needed. And Mr. Anderson's participation in that was with a grant, and his cost to that was only 25% of the project.
Wow.
So that gives them so much incentive.
Absolutely.
And reason to want to still have their business there on 2nd Street, because they know that the city and Main Street has their best interest in mind as to looking and having that door, the outside of the store just as immaculate as can be.
Well, and I'm still one of those people who I love to shop in a downtown area. I mean, I realize things change. I'm not going to be silly and say that they don't, but I love to be able to park my car and to visit all sorts of different little shops in a Main Street or in a downtown area. It takes me back to my childhood.
Absolutely.
And there's something to be said for doing business like that.
Well, and Jill, as you've heard, why Minta does such a great job is that's her intent, is to bring some of the nostalgia back, to create, when she came to me after a conference we went to in Louisville and said, Louisville's doing 4th Street Live, and we need to do something like that. So, the city taking over the Expo Center gave, one of the things I negotiated was I wanted to control the plaza for city events. And we did that through the contract with SMG, through Main Street, and through sponsorship, which Minta went after. We were able to spend over about, it was close to $80,000, I guess, between the roof and the stage and all the umbrellas and the tables and things. But what you're hearing also is, and it's why Minta does such a great job, is that she knows the shopkeeper, she knows the history of the building, she understands the importance of keeping our history, but yet preparing for today and tomorrow. So she's done a great job, and we're really proud of what this thing is turning into.
Well, I certainly commend you as well, because it is a wonderful project. It's a huge undertaking, which leads us into the next thing, as I mentioned, driving downtown, parking your car, and shopping your local merchants. I know on the radio station, or on East Kentucky Broadcasting, you visited us last week. Huge Shop Pikeville First campaign. I'm a huge advocate of that. I told you earlier, I have tried my best to shop as local as I can this year, because, as you told me, so much of that money goes back into our community. It was amazing to me, the figures that you gave me.
It is. It's very amazing. People don't realize out of the $100 they spend, if they spend it locally, over $60 stays in the local economy, which, like the sign says, supports the local economy, your quality of life which is the best thing that you can live for.
Absolutely.
Is that quality of life, and provides jobs for friends, family, and neighbors. And Main Street has taken this a step farther than just Main Street. We realize that Main Street has become what we're doing, creating a gathering place and that place for events. So we take this to the, from one end of Pikeville to the other, and we're creating Destination Pikeville. Come to Pikeville. Look at us first. Look at what we have in our town that allows you that experience to be right here at home. Maybe shop on 2nd Street at Mickey's, art and gift, but then also down at Cassidy Boulevard. So Shop Pikeville First does take in the whole area, and we started this initiative and this campaign because Kentucky Main Street also, contributed to the advertisement for this. So all other cities all over Kentucky has a shop local, and I took that picture earlier.
Right.
And Mickey's, that's a unique experience there to go in. Mickey's has been there quite a while and always been in downtown Pikeville, and we invite everyone to come in and shop first. Look and see what she has to offer.
Let's see what you can do here. Yeah. Because here's the thing, and I will guarantee you this: you will find many more unique things right here
Absolutely.
in our town, in our local community, than what you will find if you go out of town to the big malls and things like that.
When I was in there last week, what was so great is I was like, Mickey, I need this. She knew who I was talking about. She said, well, I think this would work great for that person. And then I had the list, and it might not be everything on the list can be done there. Might have to go to somewhere else, but it's the first place.
Just about anything you need. Just about anything you need,
and
you can find.
And it creates the working together of a community. It creates that piggyback, that communication, that just feel good feeling, that knowing that you have contributed to the life of your children because you put all the funds right here, and that's just wonderful thought of taking them with you and going downtown.
I see these signs everywhere. Saw 2 of them yesterday. I was telling you earlier, and I like seeing that. You really do.
Well, it's important not only to try to get the downtown refurbished and excited and things happening, but the day and age that we're in now, Jill, is so many people. It's easier either to get on the internet and to shop and than it is to visit your own community. And as you said, when I grew up, there wasn't as many selections. You went to Hobbs or Gibson's or Magic Mart, and selection was limited. But these were great shops and part of our history and our community. And it was great to go in and go through the candy counter and have everything put in your bag while you go over and look on the shelf for your toy. But times have changed, and our people migrated going to places like Charleston and Huntington and Lexington, and then the internet came about. But our local merchants, we not only need to, but we have to support them, because those are a lot of the jobs that are created. Those dollars are recirculated back in our community. They create the tax base that allows us to do a lot of the neat things that you see. But they also put people to work. So we urge people to support our local businesses, and we support our local businesses.
Absolutely.
So this is a great compliment Minta when she came. She said, I really want to do a shop at home program this year, and she's taken the bull by the horns and has got all the community excited and involved, working with the Chamber of Commerce also, and them supporting the initiative too. So it's a great program, and we hope everybody adheres and gets out and supports our local merchants.
And I certainly think that they will. Cafe on Main, we mentioned earlier, one of my favorite places, just outside of now tell me what exactly that you call it. Is it the plaza right off the Expo Center Main Street entrance?
This picture kind of is relative to that.
Yes.
There's the Main Street entrance of the Expo Center, and with the tables and the umbrellas. So we refer to that as the Expo Plaza.
Okay.
Because that already had its name. The stage was in the initial building process at the bottom. It was just the concrete stage area there. Nicole Pennington was our first performer. And then here we had a reunion of local rock bands. And that was just phenomenal. Jeff Branham, Julie Goff, just different people from all over. And we had a wonderful time that night. So Cafe on Main, being what it is, suggests come eat, have someone deliver to your table. But then that becomes just a lively place for events, such as this was Paint Pikeville Pink.
I was going to mention that.
And these are a lot of firsts. Paint Pikeville Pink is its first year of breast cancer awareness, and they had their event there, and it was overwhelming. And Main Street, what they've done with that in order to kind of fit in with our facade thing, we thought if you participate and if you decorate the outside of your business, then that opportunity will lead to winning $500 towards a facade improvement. And so we had a winner on Division.
Yes, fantastic.
We had a winner on Division Street, Melanie Horton Fields, and
Okay.
very excited. She's done a wonderful job decorating the outside of her business. So the plaza was used for that event, and then Main Street Live, and then this coming year there will be so many opportunities there. One is going to come up December the 17th. We're going to have caroling with the commission. We're going to have a jazz band out there, and that'll be compliments of Pikeville High School Pikeville High School, and the Big Sandy Singers. And we're going to have that live remote. Jill and I are going to be out there kind of telling everyone about our Fantasy Christmas Tree exposition.
That we definitely want to talk about.
Yes, this is another first. And firsts sometimes take a little bit of time to get off the ground. But
and there are several trees that are already over there.
There is.
And at first, I kept thinking, I guess in my mind, I thought they were going to be the smaller trees. I was so excited when I went to the Expo Center last Sunday night to see Landau Eugene Murphy Jr., who was phenomenal, and saw all of these gorgeous trees. Now, these two trees over on this side, Minta on this side, are the ones that you decorated.
Those,
I walked into the
and
Expo
accordingly
Center.
too, Jill.
Listen, I have
diamonds are a girl's
Yes,
best friend.
I
That's
walked
the thing
into the
with that
Expo
one.
Center that night, and Minta is up on a ladder, and then she runs, and I was like, oh, goodness. We're going to start here in just a little bit. And she was just working like a little one of Santa's little helpers. But this is a great way to showcase businesses and community activities in our area. Talk about why the trees are themed the way that they are.
Well, the reason that I think this one is because I felt like the name itself, a fantasy tree, an
Loved
exposition of fantasy. So if you were to say, well, what could I do that would, let everyone know about a fantasy? This one, I think, the snowman.
So
that's
cute.
just true. That's just true Christmas.
It's just darling.
The one that I had on the left there, the diamonds are a girl's best friend. That's definitely a fantasy. There's a huge crystal in there that we
Yes.
call it the Hope Diamond.
It's gorgeous.
But the Christmas tree that, if we can forward that, Donovan, on the right here is one that was created by the Pikeville
Yes.
and Pike County Tourism Commission. Jesse Bowling, Tony Tackett, working with Tim Collins at Food City, and also Friends of Cole. They put together this tree, and this is, it's not a fantasy, it's a reality.
It is.
Coal mining is our past. It is our future.
You're
And
exactly right. It's what we can thank for our electricity and our heat that we
Amen.
have. I was told about this tree last night and shown the picture of the hat, the hard hat that's actually on top of it. If you can get by there, I'm sure you've seen it, Donovan. It is a huge eagle with an American flag on the side.
It gives me chills.
Exactly. It is unbelievable. I can't wait to see it in person. I really can't.
So these two are the display trees. We decided that instead of putting those up for bid, is to use these each year. And the other trees that have registered, and it's $25 registration. The trees will be on display through December the 17th. And we have 3 right now. Like I said, it takes a while to get things rolling, but people can come in and bid on those trees. And we have one really good bid on one of the trees. Yeah.
I wonder which one that is.
They'll have to go see. And then we do have a process to where you can come in and vote for your favorite tree.
Right. Explain what that process is, because that started when we were there with the concert this past weekend.
Right.
And I thought it was the best idea.
So for $1, you can say, I like tree number 1, or tree number 2, or tree number 3, and hopefully next year, tree number 50.
Right.
But that gets the votes get to be put in, a little box for each tree, and the tree that has the most votes wins $500.
Wow.
So, and that, along working with Judy's Place for Kids, creates a wonderful, wonderful contribution back to the children and at Judy's Place, so they can have a little bit brighter Christmas. So it's for a
Near
great
and
cause.
dear to my heart, and it is. And I do want to tell people the couple of the trees that I noticed, so they can make sure they get over there and vote for those trees. There's a University of Pikeville tree.
There is.
That is bright orange, decorated with black and silver, and it is just a showstopper. And then the one next to it is that by Saving Grace?
No, that's
Or Pink Pikeville Pink.
It's by Pikeville Pink, breast cancer awareness, and of course
Pink
it's
and white.
Pink and white, and just those 2 trees themselves speak volumes about the cause, breast cancer, and then our
Absolutely.
university.
We're so proud of.
Yeah,
I mean,
so that's what it's about, is working towards a cause and making sure that they, Main Street works with them to get their word out.
Right. So if you want to go see these trees, you could do that. You could go into the Expo Center and look at the trees, make your vote. Everything.
The Christmas
like
parade. That's going to be coming up Monday, the 12th. The doors will be open. Main Street will be giving out hot chocolate, and it's going to be a perfect time to see the trees and see the parade.
And donate your dollar.
Well, the Pikeville City Tourism Commission is now located in the Expo Center. So as you walk through the lobby, that was another one of the parts of the negotiations that we entered with SMG is that the Pikeville Tourism Commission, that's where they're headquartered. They're working in conjunction with the Pike County Tourism Commission, which is in the very near future getting ready to relocate their office from the tourism train. They're moving actually into the Hampton Inn. Which they'll have, you got 120 people a night that stay there, so they'll be able to market Pike County to those folks and hopefully spend more dollars in our community. But having the trees and a lot of these events with tourism there, and then Minta's office is in the city park in the annex building. So we've got a good partnership between tourism, the artisan group, Main Street, all working together towards a lot of the same projects. And then having that visibility, and we're now open, the Pikeville Tourism Program and office is open Monday through Saturday now. So there's always somebody there that can help and answer questions, show the trees. But Jill, you go back and look at a lot of these programs, and Hillbilly Days, for example. Hillbilly Days started with one ideal, a couple of guys coming together with a very small, during the first couple of years, a very small event. Right. But you look at it now, it's the second largest festival in the state of Kentucky. We get a couple 100,000 people in our community for a 3-day period. And so it has really evolved and have grown. These events is basically on the same path. We've created events over the last couple of years, whether it's Muscle on Main, whether it's the movie night in the park, that started out with 3 and 4 people. And once it catches on, it continues to grow. But it creates that sense of community with all these different things going on all the time. And I know the Main Street Board has challenged Minta, and I certainly have challenged her over the past couple of years, that's what we want to create. Is we've got a great community. We got a lot of wonderful things happening, a lot of beauty, and a lot of things that we've been very blessed to be part of. But now what we need is instead of our folks having to, again, go to all our outlining communities, and when I say outlining communities, I'm talking about, again, the big cities, Charleston and Huntington, and taking our dollars and taking, not only taking the dollars, but our people deserve, Jill, the same quality of life as any other community has throughout the state of Kentucky or a nation. So creating venues like this, whether it's the success of the Expo Center or the Main Street program, and it's real neat to me, and I agree with you. The Landau show was phenomenal.
It's amazing.
But
amazing.
I looked over at was sitting with Commissioner Davis and Commissioner Lane and Commissioner Carter and Chaney and the mayor. We were sitting at closed tables, and the comment I made was, can you imagine 10 years ago that we would be in a venue like this, having an event like this? Because very first class venue, and people had a great time, as you know, up and dancing, and you had a little part in that, which
I had
you
a
did
good time.
a phenomenal job. But it's not that the city is everything to everyone, but it is our responsibility and Main Street's responsibility to give back to those that are not only paying our salaries, but have a demand upon this commission to go out and create events and venues and a better quality of life and create opportunities for our merchants downtown. And because for not only those dollars staying in our community, but if somebody stays home to shop, then they're going to buy gas, they're going to go and eat, they're going to do a lot of things that are related to the shopping experience also. And having events, not only birthday parties and things that involve you directly, but having things that you're sitting around in the evening and say, hey, there's an event going on, let's go downtown and let's have a good time.
It becomes part of your planning for your week, and that's what we want to happen. This next picture that we have, and I commented to Minta about 2 weeks ago when I saw you. I said, I want to know who is responsible for the gigantic bow that is over the Welcome to Pikeville sign, because with my radio program in the morning, I go to work very early, around 5 o'clock. So I'm one of those people that gets to enjoy it when there's not a lot of traffic around. And I was coming out of my neighborhood and I saw it and I thought, oh my goodness, I'm not in Pikeville anymore. You know what I mean? That's one of those things. And I think, oh, my goodness, how gorgeous this is. And so I asked her, and I said, who's responsible for something like that? And she was like,
well, the fire department.
Well, and
could not do without, right.
But the fact that it is absolutely, bar none, one of the most beautiful things that I've seen. Explain a little bit about all the new decorations.
Well, the new decorations, has just kind of been phenomenal. I mean, kind of overwhelming because it complements what's going on everywhere else.
Absolutely.
The construction of the city. This is just nothing except icing on the cake. When I was down there in the mud working with UNG and the firefighters and stuff, we had one gentleman, Dwayne Anderson with Anderson's Landscaping, pull off the road, whip his vehicle up on the sidewalk, and he goes, I can't believe this. I love it. So, this is exactly what Donovan was talking about. Maybe, it takes a little bit more, but you get a whole lot more for the community. And this is not a finished product. We do have some other things coming in today. It's kind of, unfortunately.
Share that story, Minta.
Yeah.
What happened to us?
Yeah, we had things ordered, and I was just biting my nails, and I called the company. I'm like, what's happened here? And they're like, well, our factory burned down. So
wow,
we're a little late.
That's a good excuse.
Yeah.
We gave them a little leadway.
You don't get that one every day, do you?
We're a little late, but it's something to build on. But so we're going to see a little bit more added to that. Yeah. But I've had the wonderful pleasure of doing this. Samantha Rogers and I.
Have.
It is
fun. It is fun. You enjoy it, and you get to reap the benefits of the city and see how beautiful it is. I know one of my favorite things that I remarked to you earlier today was the bells that are hanging from the crosswalk at the University of Pikeville. Gorgeous. I mean, you just sit in awe of it. You really do.
Next year we'll be expanding on that. We want to add spotlights to those, so it does give that ambiance. And garland and lights and the firefighters. That was their idea. And so it's wonderful to work with a team that cares so much about the community.
And they really do. And I mentioned it. What a fun job, but it is so enjoyable to see what has happened over the course of the last few years.
Well, there's not many jobs where you can put the heart of what you love into that and have it displayed.
Absolutely. Now, lots of things Christmas coming up. We have the Christmas parade. This is going to be a great event. I'm crossing my fingers now for fantastic weather, and I'm certain that we're going to get it. Hopefully. I can deal with the cold, just no rain. A little bit of snow might be okay. This is going to be December 12th, starting at 6 o'clock, and I believe the lineup for that is at 4:30.
Right.
Earlier that day. But it's a fairly inexpensive cost, and you don't even have to give a monetary value. You can do something else, right?
Right. This year we really wanted to open that up, and somebody said, well, I don't have, the money to do that. Well, then we're just requesting that you bring canned food items, and as a donation.
Right.
And even if you can't, we want you to be there. We want you to be a part of the parade. So you can contact me or Jesse Bowling if you want to give the canned food donation. If you want to enter in the parade, we're taking entries right up to the last minute.
That's what he told me.
Yeah.
It doesn't. If you show up that day, you can still enter. But now, what is the number that people can call for you?
606-444-5284. And that parade route has changed a little bit this year.
Yes, talk a little bit about the route because it is totally different, and it's going to include all of downtown.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. It starts there in the parking lot of the Big Sandy Community and Technical College on Huffman Avenue. It'll turn left-handed, and then it'll get to Main Street, and it gets to go right down Main Street. It'll get to there at Pike Street, which is the intersection where you can turn to go to the Riverfield for the cinemas or left. So you want to turn left. Go there past the new Judicial Center that's being constructed. And when you get to the end of that street, you'll be facing the boulevard, which will be right there at Domino's. We'll pass Domino's on the corner. Turn left, back onto Hambley Boulevard, so all of our residents can see. Yep, all the way back down. Then it gets to the parking garage back at Huffman Avenue. We're going to turn right back there, go down College Street, down past to the library, okay, and then to Hibbert Street. Come around the corner there at Subway, and you're going to be in the parking lot at the Pikeville Medical Center. And that way, everyone will get to view their nativity.
Right, which will end at the parade.
Well, and that's one of the things that the commission, Jill, came out with and challenged Minta on is that we have a lot of residents that when we have these venues, is sometimes they can't get out. People at whether it's Myers Towers or Ridgecliff or Ames Court. I'll get it out in a minute. The redirection of the parade allows folks to come outside their door, outside the window, without having to travel or to be cold. So there's a lot of elderly and people that don't have vehicles and that are somewhat restricted. So it was important to the mayor and the city commission that everybody get to partake of the holiday. And then the other part of that is having great partnerships. Over the last couple of years, we've formed partnerships with the school board. So we have the independent schools and the county schools that all now participate, like it was when I was young, with marching bands. Pikeville Medical Center has been a great partner of ours. Walter and not only is a great friend with our relationship with East Kentucky Broadcasting, but also with Pikeville Medical Center. And this is the first year that the actual nativity scene, that they do such a wonderful job.
It's amazing.
The nativity scene will actually be in the parade this year. They're going to actually march the camels and the donkeys and such.
Well, I love a parade, so I really can't wait for Monday night to be part of such a wonderful event. Really,
but it's a lot of fun. We enjoy it, not only to get to see the kids and the candy and all the things that go on, but it's that time of year where you're going to be a kid no matter how old you are.
And let me just say, take a break and just enjoy it for a moment. The hustle and bustle of our life seems like it gets greater and greater all the time, but if you just take that time just for a minute, I promise you will reap the benefit of that, because it is just, you need to enjoy the holiday season. The one thing we do want to talk about before we run out of time is caroling with the commissioners, and this is, I think, going to be one of the best events all year long. I think it's a great idea. Minta, explain what that is.
Well, I kind of got the idea. I think Mr. Davis led me to this. Commissioner Davis, is been with us many, many years. So he one evening was just singing a Christmas carol, and I thought, how wonderful, during this time with the holiday season, it being Christmas, to kind of get them out there and let them do what they really enjoy, because I think that everyone will enjoy, listening to the jazz band, listening to them sing along. And that day, we're going to have, you and I will be doing the live remote. So they'll get to hear the commissioners on the radio. So caroling with the commissioners is going to entail them singing, the jazz band, like I mentioned earlier, Big Sandy singers, serving hot chocolate, and we're going to do a surprise thing, the Christmas cash.
Christmas cash.
That's my Main Street deal there. We're going to get
wow.
people on Main Street. We want you to come out, and during that remote, you get to register for Christmas cash.
Now, all
and
of that
do you know what that is? You can explain that to everyone.
Christmas cash, tell me, okay, I don't want to misspeak. So you sign up. Tell me again. It's lost me.
That's okay. The radio station used to do years ago, so before your time. So they have to.
Okay.
They have to come during the time of the remote. That's
yes,
okay.
Yes.
And the remote, I think it's going to start around 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock, yes.
Okay.
And we'll be there, and then you register throughout the day. You have to be there, and then you win $500.
Right.
We have given, that's the greatest thing, when you can hand money to somebody for Christmas, right before Christmas, knowing that, it's a tough time, and you can do that. And what a wonderful thing. Now, the actual Christmas with the commissioner singing at 1 o'clock.
Exactly.
Caroling, hot chocolate, right there, right in the middle of town. What a fun event.
It's going to be great. It's going to be really, we're blessed to have a wonderful commission that always is by my side to help with anything that I want to undertake. So they are all up for this, and I'm really thankful for that.
There's an event going on tonight, too, isn't there?
Oh, yes. Tonight in the city park, the Pikeville High School Band is going to be doing a performance, and it's called Christmas Town. So they're going to be performing in the park, and so we invite everyone to come out and see that. I know Dan Houston, the choir director, and the band director. I'm not for sure if he's the choir director, but he is the band director. Contacted us, and I thought, what a great thing. So we
getting
just
our kids involved. It's fantastic. I quickly want to run down the list of events. We have that tonight that you just mentioned. Then on the 12th, of course, we mentioned the parade at 6 o'clock, ending at the live nativity at PMC. And then on Saturday, the 17th, Christmas with the commissioners on the Expo Plaza, caroling, the choir, band, complimentary hot chocolate. And then don't forget about the Fantasy Christmas Tree Exposition going on through the 17th at the Expo Center.
And then also the nativity for the Pikeville Medical Center also opens on after the parade, so they'll be doing their annual nativity scene, which brings out a lot of kids. Again, the hospital does a great job with that.
It does, and that will run close to through Christmas.
That'll go from December the 12th through the 16th.
Yes.
So that you have all week long to get out to that. If you think, well, there's a lot going on with the parade, but please
There's
come back.
Plenty of time to get to it.
Each night.
Well, I just want to thank you for allowing me to visit with you all today. I know Keith is usually here with you, but thank you for allowing me to be part of your show. And of course, you will have one more before Christmas to be back to tell everybody else what's going on. So that is all the time we have for the City Manager's Report. Minta, thank you so much for being here with us today. I have really enjoyed my time.
Well, it's our pleasure, Jill.
And we certainly enjoy, and thank you for being with us. Have a great day.